Hello? Hello?
And it's already 1 p.m. Central European time. So I think we can officially start. I just want to say thank you for coming to our second session of Fundamentals of Digital Project Management training course. If you have any questions regarding website, registration form, our modules, please use chat section. But now our educator, Ronald, he can already take over if he's ready. And I think we can start with the session. Hi, Ronald.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Hope you are fine. For us in Uganda here, we are preparing for Eid Day tomorrow. So it is still a good day preparing for a long holiday. I hope everyone will go through that holiday very well. Now, welcome to this topic again. It's going to look at what is digital project. The other time we looked at the major concepts in digitization and digital project management. So today we are going to look at a number of things. We are going to be a little bit more practical. We are going to have a number of sessions, a discussion session, but we shall have to manage time. Okay, so we are going to look at the first issue. We are going to have an experience. We are going to share the experience. We'll look at share your digital project experience and the tools on the first slide. I don't know if I see the first slide saying, share one digital project you've worked with and the tools that you are familiar with, you work with every day, and explain how these tools help you in your day-to-day operations. So this is going to start up our business today, and I'm requesting that we are going to join Slido. Have you used the Slido before? If you have not joined Slido before, there is that barcode. You can flash on your phone, or you can also join using the slido.com, and then we should be able to have our questions that side. Okay? So when you get those questions, we should be able to answer some of these areas we are discussing now. It will help us to discuss these things very fast so that we don't waste a lot of time. Can we log on to Slido, all of us? Okay, as I wait for people to log into Slido, we want to understand which project you've worked with before, the tools you've tried to work with, so that we can see how we can proceed. I want to get information from you before we kick off. Okay, someone says uses Microsoft OneNote, good, and it helps him to look at documents and structured resources. That's very nice. Okay, Microsoft Project, that's good, and visualization, that's good. Miro and Trello, that is good. So this is a good sign that most of us have worked with some tools around, and we are going to see how we can do with this project. So this tool is going to on for the rest of these 3 weeks. We should be discussing our questions, share with our colleagues within this platform. So I realize we don't have, the other side don't have a good platform that can keep us moving. When we go off, people go off. So let us continue our discussions on this platform so that we don't end. For today, we are going to be looking at a number of projects, like you said. I don't know. On the project side, someone says using Asana, Stack for communication. Has done what you call a digital project. maybe website management, maybe ERP or something like that. Some people use Google Classroom. Yes, that's good. But I want to see us digital projects. A project that someone has worked with and is successful, because we are going to use this as a good examples of what we're going to go through. Okay, so I'll be using the example I'm talking about here. What we are going to got, and what we are talking about, what is a project. We realize that before we talk about digital projects, we need to understand what a project is in totality. We are saying that a project is a temporary structured endeavor to achieve a specific objective within defined constraints. So projects, we do projects to achieve a specified objective. In projects management, we'll be looking at what are the tools we're going to use, and depending on which type of a project, there are different tools that are applied. Like we are going to go through all these tools slowly by slowly. And at the end of the day, we should see that whenever we talk about a digital project or any project, it should be unique in its nature. It's not to be like any other business. A project has got a time scope. It has got a starting point and an ending point. That project is unique in its nature. It should have a goal-oriented. It should have an achievable items that we need to see at the end of the day. And like we said, it should be time-bound. A project does not move from start forever. No, we always look at the time constraint. And I'm going to emphasize this, that in projects, in IT projects, in digital projects, time is very essential, and budget is also very to manage those two entities or constraints very well. So we are going to look at projects, for example, people exchanging students from one institution. They should have a beginning time and an ending time. They should have, at the end of the day, we should have an objective. What are we looking at achieving? We should look at tech people for capacity building. When should people learn which type of skills and all that? All those need time, and they will take resources, so they are unique in between one another. We also look at some people, they give people chance to buy products at a cheaper subsidized price forever. No, sometimes I've seen many people talk about Black Friday, things at a cheaper price in Africa and other entities. So also look at these projects, example of community engagement initiatives, where it comes for a particular period of time and it should be ended after a period of time. So this takes us what we call digital project. In details now, we are going to dissect what is digital project, because we've seen what it meant by. We've talked about what it meant by a project, and now we are looking at what is a digital project in this context. So we are saying that a digital project integrates digital environments as essential spaces for collaboration, learning, and achieving objectives which are embedded in technology and its core methodology. So the next chapter will be issues to do with the methodology, but today we are going to dissect issues to do with digital projects. What do we have to think about a digital project? What should be in our minds in terms of digital projects? When we talk about training, when we talk about digital campaigns, a digital project should be considering digital first mindset. Okay, people should also think about, when we talk about digital project, we should also talk about digitization. How do you use this? We are moving on doing things. How do we go? The use of technology in working with these projects. We should be looking at things like virtual and hybrid delivery. How do we move effects virtually? We are in Africa, some people are in Europe, but we are coordinating a project that is going on where everyone is engaged. We are looking at digital governance, the rules. We talked about that time, the policies that institutions put in place so that they are able to help other people work within a very conducive environment where we don't have challenging factors, where we don't have people affected by digital issues. So we have policies and guidelines that manage how we work with the digital environment, because if those are not in place, many people may go astray. We look at online collaboration. These are all features that we expect when we talk about digital projects. So when we talk about online collaboration, it is a center point. Whatever we need to do with digital projects, they should be online collaboration. These many tools we are trying to move around with. We are looking at very many tools to make sure that we can choose which tool is good and which tool is maybe good for a certain project and not another project. But there should be outputs at the end of the day. We should be able to see that, yeah, the deliverables are there and they are implementable and they have been achieved. So the last bit is that we talk about the transnational cooperation, which we are saying that this is a very good example of the project we are on, this learning program, where we are having all sets of people around the world, and we are looking at one concept, looking at digital. So in that case, we want to understand clearly, and like you shared your experiences, how these digital projects, the one you've worked with, how do they in the day-to-day life? How have you achieved those digital projects? If I can get I want to see 1 or 2 people who has achieved successfully in those online projects that you've worked with, to share some bit of experience. Anyone can raise your hand, or you can mute and say hello, then we can, because there are many people. And Maria, can you say something?
Hi, sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Yes, we want to share your experience on the projects you've worked with, a successful project.
Yeah, a successful project I worked with was definitely like a summer school program. That was like in 2018 to 2021. I used like as digital tools, I used Asana, I used Trello quite a bit, but also just meetings in person. I feel like having like both the elements of like the meetings in person and like the using digital skills was one of the things that helped it being successful. Yeah.
That is nice. Any other person to share with us what you have done before? Because we are going to do into the concept of structuralizing how these projects, the challenges you think through, and what we are going to discuss about really makes a lot of sense. Is coming, Katarina? I can see Faith is Faith. I'm looking at, I'm randomizing, so I don't have any particular person. I want to share experience. Diana is there? Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Now that people fear to talk, if you are not comfortable at giving us your audio, please, you can write in the chat room, or we can share in the Slido platform. So we are going to look at the 5 essential elements of a project. We've seen those projects we talked about. We are talking about the training program, and we're talking about different other kind of business-oriented. But the main core features in a digital project or in a project, there are majorly 5 that I've chosen. And I'm saying one of them, you have to clearly define the objectives. What are your objectives? You need to specify. Those objectives should be specific, should be measurable, should guide you into the entire project. You should have the guiding factors. Why have you come up with that project? When do you want it? What does it want it to? What do you want to achieve? And then you also need to identify the target group. Now, people are talking about academic issues, training issues. You need to know the scope of the people that you are trying to train. In this case, for us, this project here, I was really informed that we have a broad spectrum of participants, those who have been in projects, those who are not started projects, and those who want to start doing projects. So that means we have a blended mix. That's why we are going to be sharing a lot of experience here at this level. So we need to have specific ideas. What is this project going to do? How is it going to help us? And what are we going to achieve? At the end of the day, this should be measurable and they should be achievable. If you don't achieve your objectives as set in the initial stages, that means it is very, very, very clear that the project is not going to be successful. Are you together? The other bit, we need to have what called a structured work plan. A structured work plan, some of the tools people talked about are more appropriate in this area, where we see that we can have a number of tools that can help us to monitor, to track from the start to the implementation and then to the exit point, where we see how projects are moving. So a structured work plan helps us to look at the clear timelines which are structured. We define the phases clearly. We talk about from the initial phase, we go to the planning phase, we shall be looking at the execution or the implementation. Then we shall be looking at also the exit phase and the development side. So all those phases, 5 or 6 phases, are very critical in what we call working with the projects. So I imagine, Maria, are these areas, did you define them clearly in your project? Was it successful?
Hi. Yes, I think like all of the areas actually we had covered. We did have like defined objectives. We had a target group, which were like young students. Structured work plan. Yes, that was created through like Asana, and was adjusted on a weekly basis. Allocated budget and resources. Yes, we had like a budget, but like we had also some buffer of 10%. And then monitoring and evaluation, yeah, that was done in a couple of different levels, both with the participants within like the team. Yeah. So I would say yes.
That means your project is a success. I'm assuming when is it ending?
It's already ended. Like there were a couple of iterations between the years of 18 to 21, I think. Yeah.
Good. So that's clear.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
So participants are writing in the chat section that they're having some audio issues from your side. So is it maybe okay if you turn off your video? Maybe audio will be better. I'm not sure what to do in this situation, because one of the colleagues from our team said that connection is actually good, but we don't know why we are having these audio errors. So maybe it's going to be better now, I hope.
All of you having the same challenge? Maybe we can go through chat room, or someone can say, hey, it's okay now, or we can check on something.
Okay, for now it's okay, but yeah, let's see. I will let you know in 5 minutes.
Okay, someone says it is super now. Fantastic. Thank you, Maria. So that means, but I was hearing Maria very, very well. Oh, everyone says it's better now. Thank you. Okay, so let's continue. We are saying that we are looking at the 5 elements, the essential elements of a project, and we've really got a good testimony that the 3 areas we talked about, that having a clear, defined objective is very, very paramount. Identifying the target group, the people you're going to deal with is very critical, and having a structured plan. The moment you have a well-structured plan, that means you have very good timelines. You don't have your budget fold up from zero to the dot, then you'll be able to see that everything moves as planned. Then we talked about allocation budget in project management. These are one of the areas that are very critical in the initial stages. Planning and budgeting. Planning involving the issue of time management, the time scope, and the budget. The more you go outside the time scope, that means we shall be able to talk about what we call scope creeping. Having a lot of time requires us to have more increase on the budget, and that means sometimes you will not be a very good project manager if you cannot manage the issue of budget and time. So the human resource bit is very critical in this area. When we talk about allocation of resources, we should talk about the tools used. That's why you're trying to have a number of tools here. We are using at Slido, we shall use Sporative, we shall use the Zoom. They are all types of applications, all the tools we can use in projects. So it is all about you as a project manager to define which type of tool you are going to use on which occasion, on which activity, and so that you can get a very good output. Then the issue of monitoring and evaluation. Monitor, whatever we do in projects, we need to evaluate. We need to monitor. How are things going? We need to have a checklist. You take off that according to my project design, I'm going to start in the initial stage by planning, by getting the concept right, by planning, identifying the users, identifying who are going to be partners, who are going to fund this project, so that we can talk about the feasibility study, whether the project we are going to go through is really justifiable, that it will happen, or it may not be easier for that project to be successful. So we are going to go through this one quickly, and we are going to talk about the project development life cycle. As a project manager, we need to go through these 5 areas. One of them is the planning bit, which sometimes is merged with what we call the initialization stage. Okay, the initialization phase defines the objectives, like I've said. What are you going to achieve? Then you identify the target groups. Maria was talking about the training. You need to know, are you going to train people be a certain age of people? Are you going to train only the youth? Is it going to be a mix of youth and other people? So you need to know the type of people you are going to train, or that who are interested in that type of business, and then calculate to see that you are thinking in a different, or you are thinking otherwise. You also need to be able to allocate resources effectively. When we talk about allocating resources, go through what we call the human resource, the budget, and also other type of requirements that may happen. So, but in project development, it is very critical to manage the budget to the human resource, because this is one of us becomes us very well, and then that takes us to developing what we call a work plan. When you want to develop a work plan, you need to know who are people going to work with you, how is your project going to integrate within other projects, and sometimes tools like Gantt chart, like Trello, they all happen to help us move and plan and map which resource is managed by which person. As a project manager, you need to have that at your concept, and which activity has delayed, which activity is moving through smoothly, which activity needs attention before time gets off your side. So it is very critical that the first stage, which you talk about the planning or the implementation stage, the initial stage, is well managed, and the other stages will always come, because these are stages that integrate between each other, but they become more easier to manage if the planning stage is very well catered for. So the second part, we talk about the design. After doing the planning and everything is moving well, we should have the technical people having the structuring the activities right. If we are in terms of IT projects, we need to talk about now getting into modeling, getting into developing ER diagrams to see the process diagrams, how things are going to move from start to the end. In the case of anything, how are they going to integrate with the other systems? We are also looking at preparing the materials that are going to be used in this project. If there are issues to do with the softwares, we need to have the softwares in place. We need to have the people, computer programmers in place. We need to have the computing, the hardwares, and all that. So this alone is preparing us, looking at the objectives, what we are supposed to be looking at, the systems we are going to work with. The other will be looking at setting up the digital platforms. Digital platforms are very many. Others are help us in the communication, others do help us in the testing softwares, others do help us in installing, in accessing, maybe I would say cloud services. So in that case, we shall be discussing this in our groups as we continue. But the day in that line, creating your own content and knowing what do we want to achieve. Sometimes we do what we call prototyping. And if that design part is very, very well managed, that means we are going to look at the implementation stage. How is our project going to be implemented? How is it going to work? How do we test it? Because there are a number of tests we need to carry out before we really say, yes, it is good for consumption. Whereas we talk about the unit testing, the integration testing, and then model testing, where we see that every part of the system, or system testing, every part of the program is well tested and is actually responding positively. So under implementation, we conduct workshops. We raise through our projects people and ask them what is happening, how is our prototype moving. For example, if you have a prototype, we need to train people. We need to do what we call change management. Change management is very critical for those who are going to deal with systems that are for institutions which has been in place for some time. We have existing systems. Maybe they are not doing well, or sometimes people want to change. So you need to run through what we call change management. You need to work with the people, you need to create workshops, you need to sell your idea, and you need really to discuss with them why this system is coming up and not the existing one. The challenges and the advantage. Of course, we should be looking at the advantage being more on the other side, higher than the available challenges. So it will be should be a solution-based system, a problem-causing system. So we need to facilitate learning, training people on how to use these systems so that they are user-friendly. We need to develop systems that have got interfaces that are user-friendly. People can navigate around without hassle, so that it is critical that hello? Bukola had something to say? Okay, sorry. So we are saying that we need also to manage logistics. This is one area that is very critical, because you remember, if you misuse the resources, we've already budgeted for them in the previous, in the initial stage, and we cannot ask for more resources at the end of the day. This will require what we call change management, or signing documents that request for changes in the specifications. So if we miss in the initial stages, to manage your resources at this point of time should be critical, and we should manage the logistics very well. We are looking at the issue of ensuring technical support. Most projects, IT projects or digital projects, fail because of lack of support. After they are well designed, they have been well developed, they have been implemented very well, they are in use, they must fail the first 1 or 2 years. They fail because of lack of technical support. And most of you are going to be in this business of managing systems, of setting out systems, of developing projects. You should know that support is one good area that you should concentrate on, and you cannot miss even any single hour to provide support. So on that point, we are looking at monitoring. Like Maria said, monitoring is very critical. It's sometimes at a stage where you've done a big part of your day-to-day work, and then you are looking at following up. How are things moving? Are they moving as planned? You track on how is data collected, you assess the engagement, and you'll be able to see that you document all what is required in this case. So in that case, we are saying that you need to do what we call monitoring, and then you do evaluation. With evaluation, you end up planning at the exit. So you measure the outcomes. How was it a successful project? How did you go about it? Did the people benefit? Was it something that we needed to add? Or because of time, we miscalculated a number of things, we did not finish the way it was expected? And then you can see how you can fit in the gaps. So you need to create a lot of reports if you're going to monitor and manage projects. report writing should be part of it. You need to analyze the impact of the project if you're evaluating a project, and you need to also get feedback. It is very critical for us that we cannot have projects which are not serving the purpose. So these are just the deliverables that I've given in that slide to look at the planning stage. Yes, what we need to do, we look at the project proposal. When you look at the project proposal, we are anticipating what are we going to do in that project and how are we going to benefit from that project, so that probably funders can come in and work together with you and be able to support your cause. We talk about stakeholder analysis. This is one of the deliverable that should come from the stages we talked about, maybe at the initial stage, that you need to see that the stakeholders you're going to work with, are they the right people? Are they doing the right, are they in the right positions? And are they doing the right job? We talk about budget planning and resource allocation. I don't want to concentrate to go into detail on this one. Maria talked about it very well, because every project, remember, we are working in limited resources. Whenever I do projects, there are no serious resources that are available full for every project, but we will always work on what we call limited resources. And we always need to do what we call a needs assessment. A needs assessment is very critical in the planning stage. What is required, you document it, and you also look at risk assessment, and then develop the work plan. That is always what takes through in what we call a project planning phase. Okay, the deliverables we may find during the design. Yes, we can talk about the preprint when we talk about project curriculums, what is expected from that project, the training materials, are they available, who are the facilitators to work in that project, is the facilitation guide available, or we call the manual in that case, the platforms where we're going to have our projects. Some people you need to go for cloud services. If you do cloud services, then you have to have your in-house servers. Then you should make sure that they are available. The communication platforms, there are very many of them. Some people want WhatsApp like there is no tomorrow. People want to use emails. But depending on what the urgency of the communication, sometimes you need to just call, to have a full call away in order to have implemented certain, maybe it's an urgency that has happened. So we already need to find that we use the right communication platforms and be able to say, okay, if that is okay, we have it, then we are going to go to the infrastructure. You need to design. Many systems operate depending on different infrastructures. You've seen many computers coming up, many servers of different Core i5, Core i7, Core 64-bit, 32-bit. You need to know which type of infrastructure it fits your project. If these are digital projects, you're going to have servers. Are you going to host it in Linux? Are you going to host it in Microsoft products? So you need to look at those ones. And then monitoring, there we cannot avoid progressive reports. We need to have reports on a daily basis. We need to have engagement metrics. We need to have attendance tracking. Check out, tick off lists, what has been done and what has not been done. We have to always to do reviews. Sometimes they are quarterly, sometimes they are mid-term reviews, sometimes they could be weekly, depending on the activities we are running. And then this looks at the issue logs, which tracks whatever is happening within the system, most in cloud systems, and this takes us to the budgetary utilization. How much have we used? What is remaining? Are we still safe? Do we have many people, more people, some people have not been paid, as some areas not accomplished, but they need to be accomplished by a certain period of time? And what is the payment? So that you can plan better so that your projects are more efficiently. The evaluation thing, yes, we talk about final evaluation reports that can bring in auditors, people to audit our systems and see, are they operating as expected? Participants' feedback, you roll out the system to be tested by other people. Let's talk about after prototypes are done, and then they can give us feedbacks. Then you can accept recommendations, maybe during training, that this project this system is good, but maybe the interfaces are not so much visible on mobile phones, or else it's not clear in terms of the colors and all that. So the impact assessment, lesson plan, and project closure reports are very critical during the evaluation stage. Okay, so I would like to ask a question where I want us to work in groups. Maybe I don't know whether the time is still there, but do you have time? Okay, we want to identify a project and clearly justify whether that project falls under the traditional or the digital projects, because we are saying that we have two types of projects. There are projects that really needs people to meet physically, where there should be face-to-face type of working. Then we have projects that may not need people to yeah, face-to-face. Yes, there are projects that we can work when we are remote and you can achieve them and you can successfully implement such projects, like online projects, training projects. Yes, some projects can work in that way. We have projects where they need to have a facilitator who is physical. I don't know whether in the medical circles, people have developed some medical programs, telemedicine. I've seen people doing online, supporting online surgery. Does it need really face-to-face, or does it can be through online collaboration? We are going to share with us and see what happens. Paper, okay, where we need to have those, maybe touching different papers, looking at the real hard copies of the papers that we can have the records right and be able to make decisions. We also look at the digital support tools that are needed where they don't integrate with the other systems. So that means you need to have to move in that area. But the digital area is so that projects that can be worked on remotely, they are structured in that way that from the word go, these projects are going to be moved online. The servers, people are using cloud services. I've seen many people doing online courses where they upload applications like Moodle. There are very many other applications, Canvas, and they do even exams online. So there's all those facilities that allow someone to do the online exams and graduate as a very qualified person. The online collaboration, which supports remotely, and you should know that if you're going to go for such collaboration, such projects, that means you should have at least internet. But when you're in areas where there's no internet, what do we do? Some systems, people develop systems that you can have internet at one point of time, but you can also have offline services during when, so that you can use it when you get to a place where there's internet, then you can synchronize and have information enrolled. We talk about digital outputs. When you're working with digital projects, we should be sure that we are expecting digital outputs. We don't work with digital projects and then we expect traditional outputs. That is not right. So we are going to see in the next session where we are going to look at people, the different projects you've worked with, and we are going to see how it works in this area. Just a minute, I want to switch you to any question for now. Someone who can talk to us as I shift to Scholartive. Do you have any question?
We don't have any question, but it's going really good. We're taking a lot of notes. Thank you so much.
Yes, but I also want to share, to get feedback from you. I want to learn from where you people are. These projects, are you really using the structured format we are talking about? Is it just that something is...
Hi,
something
can I get and now?
Okay.
Here? Yeah, so for example, I'm part of organization that is international. So we have people based in countries in different continents even. So our main projects are digital projects. So it's what we do mainly. So we are actually fitting more of the right section digital, not the traditional one. So yeah, and I saw know some colleagues of mine here are now in the meeting, so they can also confirm that we are primarily working with digital projects.
Okay. Any other observation?
For us, we do both traditional and digital. So it's good to see the different strategies that you're giving, because we do both traditional and digital.
Okay, how many are we? How many are this? Okay, I'm going to shift you to Scolative, and I just want us to answer one question that you'll find there so that we can understand. I'm going to share with you. Okay. I remember we've used Scolative before. So I want to share this one and see. Okay, sharing here. Okay, are we able to see that? Go Socrative.com and enter that code, or you can flash on that code. Are you able to see that one?
Yes, we can see everything.
Yes, I want us in those groups that I've created. There are 5 groups. It is going to take to you in those groups individually. It is not going to it's going to be random, but I want in your groups to answer that question and I get feedback from you. We are just going to use 5 minutes. It is just one question. I want to get to understand. In your groups, what do you think? You want to copy that. No, in your group, I want you to get one person to give us feedback. This is collaboration. We want to see how you can use different tools in teams. You can choose first, but and then you give us an answer in 5 minutes. So we should select one person to give us feedback because we're in 5 groups. I can see blue, magenta. Those are your groups. Like, of course, the other groups are not seeing what you are saying. So we want to know what is your take. We have only two minutes to go. Let me have off runners got a group. Okay, so okay, I think can we share the experience from those people who are maybe the project managers that you've chosen from your groups?
I think, I mean, I also tried this app, but I think groups were not formed, or at least it's only from my side.
Yes, it was.
I couldn't see like who was the person who needs to give a feedback on behalf of the whole team, or maybe it's only me. I don't know.
How people can come together and manage themselves in a group. So that's one challenge that we've got. Any other feedback?
It was a little bit confusing because like we weren't able to communicate and like it wasn't really obvious what group we belonged to, and it was like little bit not obvious what we need to do as a group, but we didn't have a group in fact.
You had a group, but you're not sure whether you had a group. That's another thing. Okay, can we are going to shift to another platform.
May added any meeting rooms could talk and also give a feedback through those groups. Like
Perfect.
bringing out rules would be great for us to share our thoughts together and also give a feedback through those breaking out rules. It will be awesome for.
Perfect. We are switching to another one. Can you please switch and we see? We are going to create some other groups still, and we see what's going to happen. We are looking at experiences. Those are very good feedback. Okay. So we are going to go to Zoom breakout for 3 minutes. I want to get feedback from that side. Okay. Welcome back to this session. I've baptized a number of people. I don't know whether they are not there, they logged out, they logged in and went out, or they did not join some groups. Some groups were full, others were not full because they are waiting people to join. I don't know whether there was a problem with some people. Maybe I can get to know the feedback. Okay, because of time, can I have the answers from the how many groups? The 5 groups, the coordinators.
Should we go in the order 1, 2, 3,
Yes,
4, 5?
please. Okay. You have the microphone?
What would be the task right now?
We want feedback. What did you discuss? Which one did you resolve on? Which project phase is more important according to you? I can see Alice. Yes, Alice.
Hello. First of all, hello everyone. Our group discussed, like, we had two members of my team told that planning is important. But when it comes to me, I told that I said that implementation is one of the most important part of the project, since while we implement a project, any technical problem, any technical issue can harm or can create a problem for a learning for informal learning environment. That's why I told implementation part, but other members said we should be like focusing on planning part 2.
Okay, thank you, Ali. Any other? That's one member from the group. Someone raised up a hand. Someone raised up a hand. Maria.
Hello, everyone. I am representing Group 2 today. And indeed, we agree that the project planning phase is the core and the roots of a successful project. However, we would like to add to what our colleague mentioned before us, that transparency, clear communication are essential to project planning success. Having just a document planned does not guarantee the whole team, the project management team and the coordination and workflow teams will be able to deliver their tasks if it is not accessible to the correct teams, if it is not clearly stated, if there are no guidelines, because I've had a negative experience, let's say, when I had to close a visit at the European Parliament liaison office in my country, and my colleagues did not share with me written in, the project planning and what they had done before I joined the organization, meaning I could not proceed. So yes, project planning is amazing, documentation is amazing, but if you don't clearly communicate, if things are not accessible to the right people, and if there is no transparency, we stated that the project probably is not going to be good. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. The third one, I can see Baida.
Yes, hello everyone. So our group was, I think, 4. I'm bad with numbers. So we had a couple of ideas that said that planning and resource allocation was the most important stage. However, we had a team member who said about the importance of needs analysis, and figuring out what we are going to plan and what we're going to implement. But other than that, we finally decided that all the stages were quite important, because otherwise we wouldn't have them. And yes, monitoring was also mentioned, that it is quite important.
Okay, I think that is with someone else. I can see the last one is who? Someone raised their hand. Someone has raised their hands, getting out of me. The last one, please.
I think that's group 5.
Yes.
Sorry about the number, but we went also with planning. We thought that it was just very important part of the project because it is the foundation, right? You know how if your foundation is not right, it could affect the other stages. So poor planning can lead to poor implementation, because if you don't plan right, you might end up implementing the wrong things. So we felt like it's planning basically because it's the foundation of what is going to be done for the rest of the project, which we believe that planning can obviously change. You can change different things on the project plan, but we thought it was also important.
Wow. Thank you so much. In your teams, it's really amazing. I've realized that, yes, you have very well, and we know we've agreed not to agree that everyone thinks one phase is more important than the other, but in the real understanding, like the last presenter says, for the lack of delay, says all the phases are equally important because they actually work in integration. One phase cannot exist without the other. We are saying critically, the 2 major critical phases, I also agree with you that one of it is the initial stage. The initial stage is very critical, and then the monitoring stage to see whatever you've done all in the middle that is progressing very well is also another critical, but they are all equally important stages. We don't have any part that's not critical. So for today, because of that, we are not going to go too far because I've realized you've read a lot about this, and we are going to close with one thing, with one bit of where we're going to squative and test ourselves as we go out to see how far we've read the online material vis-a-vis what this, because we cannot discuss it everything and finish at the same time. But we are going to go to Socrative and be able to log in again on Socrative and answer these 2, 3, 4 questions, and then we shall be able to go. So let me activate this one for you. This is in the video, so we are going to do it individually. Let me share the screen.
Is it the same room name?
Yes. This is taking us only 3 minutes. There are only a few questions.
Balmunsi, can I have the QR code again? I wasn't able to fill out the test, so I am still trying to catch up with the test right now.
Have you picked that one? One minute to go. Okay. I think we shall end on that one. Thank you so much for coming in today. Thank you for coming in today. I don't know whether on my technical team, do you have something to say? We can continue on the Slido if you have questions that we need us to answer in the coming days, but we are going to do a lot of practicals in the next session. Now that you have known where you are, you have the projects, so I expect you to have on the Slido the questions, the challenges we discuss on the platform out of here.
Thank you, Ronald, for amazing session today. And I feel bad that we are having this time limit, but unfortunately, as you already know, like we are having these training courses in the middle of the week. So many people send me email that they can't join because of their work. So many people left comment in the chat they are leaving because of the work or faculty, which is very understandable. So we are really trying our best to put everything in 60 minutes frame to be interactive and also this theoretical part. And also I like to ask for full understanding because these activities are all online. So of course, some people have microphone issues, internet issues, or I know electricity can go down. So we don't know what can happen in the background, but we will try our best to deliver you best learning experience when it comes to visuals and also these practical live sessions here. Presentation will be shared tomorrow. As usual, I'll share with you module 3 on email, and I'll share with you the presentation from our educator. And then you will have the only task, only homework to finish module 3 by next Thursday. So, and also if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Be free to send me email. As usual, I will be replying midnight or noon to try to give you answers and right information. Okay. So thank you so much. And I really do hope that I'm going to see you all next Thursday.
See you.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice
See
day.
you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.